Good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News 10 at 10, where we give you more news in less time. Let's get started. New tonight, friends and family of a Hilliard man shot and killed by police gathered for a memorial. On September 4th, police were called to Robert Bradley's home by a person who said their neighbor was in their yard with an AR-15 style rifle. When police arrived, they say Bradley was holding a gun. They asked him to lower it, but say he refused, and that's when two officers shot him. Now, we later learned there had been an ongoing property dispute between Bradley and his neighbor. Bradley's family says police only gave him seconds to react, and they believe the outcome of that night should have been different. Tonight, KREM 2's Kyle Simchuk went to that memorial and has more on how Bradley is being remembered.
Friends and family of Robert Bradley gathered here at Riverfront Park tonight, 1 month after he was shot and killed by Spokane police officers. Bradley was a business owner, aspiring pilot, father, and fiance. She says Bradley was on his own property emptying out their van after a weekend of camping when police shot him seconds after law enforcement identified themselves in the dark alley. Police say Bradley would not follow commands, and they did find a rifle near him. Two different sides to this story, but people here tonight believe Bradley should still be alive and that the shooting was not justified.
When a life is lost too soon in such an unnecessary and avoidable way as Robert Bradley's life was, it is important to spread their memories as far as possible, and that they are carried on by more than just the people who knew and loved them. During
tonight's memorial, Bradley's son lit the first candle. That flame lit all the others here. This shooting is still being investigated. Prosecutors still looking at whether the shooting was justified or if those officers should face charges. They have been placed on administrative leave, which is standard protocol. In Spokane tonight, Kyle Simchuk, KREM 2 News.
Two Spokane men have filed a lawsuit against the South Hill congregation of the Jehovah's Witnesses, saying they were molested by a church elder starting in the 1970s when they were just 8 and 11 years old. The lawsuit says the church concealed the abuse and the elder was allowed to groom and sexually abuse children even after the molestation was reported to church staff. The two plaintiffs say they have suffered physical and permanent psychological injuries. They are seeking an undetermined amount and have demanded a jury trial. A judge will hold a hearing on that case coming up on November 4th. Well, heads up for drivers tomorrow. The right two lanes of northbound Division Street and Sprague Avenue will be closed for the next 10 days. The closures will start at 9 a.m. and last until 7 p.m. Division will be fully reopened after 7 p.m. every day. The closures are so BNSF Railway can repair damage on a railroad overpass that was hit by a car last month.
Officials at the University of Idaho said it should stop providing contraception, as was mentioned by the vice president. In fact, they told university staff that they could get in trouble just for talking or telling students about where they get birth control. Folks, what century are we in?
Well, just hours ago, President Biden criticizing the University of Idaho and its recent guidance regarding abortion. He made the remarks today during a reproductive rights task force meeting. The president was joined by other members of his cabinet and healthcare providers who detailed what they called the chilling impact that strict abortion bans are having on women and doctors. Today's meeting comes just days after the University of Idaho sent a memo to staff warning they could lose their jobs or face prosecution for promoting abortion or contraception. President Biden went on to say, quote, "My message to any other college considering enacting policies like this is don't."
Generally, it's not constitutionally acceptable for state administrators to mandate neutrality or to chill discussion about something like abortion.
That is Mary Ziegler, a law professor at the University of California, Davis, who spoke exclusively with KREM 2 about the legality of the U of I's new policies. Coming up in just 10 minutes, our own Janelle Finch digging deeper to find out what concerns Ziegler has ahead of her visit to the university's campus and why the use of the term neutrality is raising questions in this context. And now to our night beat with a quick look at today's top stories. Just hours ago, the Spokane County Prosecutor's Office approved a resolution for an abatement of the homeless camp off I-90. Spokane County stated they are authorized to file a lawsuit against WashDOT on the grounds of nuisance conditions and injunctive relief. The Spokane County Board of Commissioners approved the action in support of Sheriff Ozzie Knezevich, who has said that he intends to clear that camp. And new developments tonight in the case of a Moses Lake man accused of killing his wife. 54-year-old Charles Bergman has waived extradition and will be transported back to Washington from Pennsylvania to face a murder charge. He and his wife Teresa went missing from the Spokane airport on September 20th. Her body was found a few days later in a remote field in Lincoln County. The Lincoln County Sheriff's Office says they will make arrangements with the U.S. Marshals to pick up Charles Bergman within the next 10 days. He is currently in Pennsylvania where he was arrested. And the Spokane County Sheriff's Office arrested 5 suspects at a car dealership early this morning after catching 2 in the act of stealing gas from a drilled gas tank, they say. Just after 1 a.m., deputies found one man under a car, another standing near it. Deputies say they had a red drill and 3 gas cans, and fuel was flowing from the car. After 2 men were arrested, deputies found a car with 3 more suspects inside trying to flee the scene, they say. According to the sheriff's office, they were able to stop them and detain them. At the time of their arrest, deputies found 10 total vehicles that had been damaged. All suspects have been charged with malicious mischief in the first degree, along with several other charges. Gonzaga's men's basketball released its non-conference schedule today ahead of their upcoming season. It holds good news for local fans with 7 home games to be played in the McCarthy Athletic Center. During the first 2 months of the season, the Zags will face potentially 7 teams that advanced to the NCAA tournament last season. For a full breakdown of their schedule, just head to our website. That's KREM.com. And that was your Night Beat. To learn more about any of these stories, just text us the word night to 509-448-2000 and we'll send them directly to your phone. All right, taking a break from the headlines right now, let's talk weather. It's been a relatively boring forecast, lady, but boring in a good way. Let's get straight to KREM 2 meteorologist Michelle Boss. And Michelle, more nice weather ahead, right?
Yeah, that's about it. The interesting thing about today, though, we had our second 80-degree day of October, which is pretty unusual for the month, and so temperatures not terribly chilly out there right now. We've got readings in the 50s and 60s. In fact, just under 60 degrees at the Spokane Airport, lower 60s in central Washington, still 62 in Pullman and 64 in Lewiston. We do have a band of passing clouds that'll just be moving through overnight. No rain associated with that. In fact, not really going to affect our weather much. They'll be out of here by the time you wake up tomorrow, and we're looking at more sunshine, and temperature-wise going to stay pretty consistent over the next 7 days, well above average in the upper 70s and lower 80s. Short-term forecast, though, partly cloudy overnight, mostly sunny tomorrow. We'll start off the day in the lower 50s and be back in the upper 70s and lower 80s for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Sounds good, Michelle. We'll check back in with you later in the broadcast. In Northwest News tonight, Boeing is now saying it does not anticipate winning approval for the 737 MAX 10 before next summer, which could be horrible news financially for the company. Unless it gains an extension from Congress, Boeing must meet new cockpit alerting requirements by December. If it doesn't, it could significantly delay the MAX 10's entry into service. The government put the new rules in place after 2 MAX crashes that killed 346 people a few years ago. Meanwhile, the FAA is increasing how much rest time flight attendants get between flights. It'll go from 9 hours to 10 hours between shifts for any flight attendant who is on duty 14 hours. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg said, quote, "This will keep all of us safe in the air," unquote. Flight crews unions have fought hard for the change. Meanwhile, looking ahead, in 2 days, Buttigieg will be right here in Washington. He is coming to see projects being paid for by President Biden's bipartisan infrastructure law. On Thursday and Friday, he'll make stops in the Seattle area and in Wenatchee. And that was your KREM 2 News 10 at 10, where you get more news in less time. But don't go to bed just yet. A California professor coming to the University of Idaho's campus discusses her concerns with the school's recent guidelines on abortion and contraceptives. Plus, in the ongoing saga between Twitter and Elon Musk, the billionaire now says he will buy Twitter after all. We'll explain when we come back in just 90 seconds.